Hi everyone, it's Oz from the Aether team here, back with another AML video after quite a long while away. I just wanted to do a quick-fire presentation going through a lot of the stuff we've been working on the state of things with the Aether project over the last year or so. The first point I'd like to address quickly is the recent rebranding of our development team. As many of you may have noticed already, we've dropped the Guilded Games name and branding from our social media pages and replaced it with the Aether team. I just want to note that we're the same team that's always worked on the mod. We're mainly just trying to refocus on the Aether project with how we present ourselves going forward. So with that out of the way, I'd like to give an update on what the team has been working on since the last couple ML videos. If you've been keeping up to date on our social media or Discord server, you've likely already heard that we're doing a major rewrite/remaster of the original Aether mod for modern Minecraft versions. This represents the first proper update for the Aether mod since around 2012. We've had ports of the Aether for versions from 1.7.10 to 1.12.2, but they were originally handled by a separate team and were mostly maintained purely for preservation, whereas with this rewrite we're aiming to enhance and modernise the original Aether mod with numerous quality of life improvements, technical improvements, and design rebalances. I'd like to just take a moment to give a little bit of history of how this project came about. You all likely remember Aether Legacy, the modern ports of the original mod, handled by the Modding Legacy team. We readopted Aether Legacy from them in 2019 and began patching the codebase, intending to continue supporting the original mod ourselves. Unfortunately though, 1.12.2's code wasn't really compatible with later versions because of large-scale refactors with Forge and the vanilla game, so we weren't really able to easily port the Aether Legacy code to versions from 1.13 onwards. Luckily for us, back in 2020, the developer behind the Aether Continuation add-on had started rewriting Aether blocks and items for 1.14.4 and presented this to us as an opportunity to rewrite the mod for new versions. We were very interested in this, so we invited them into our development team with the intent to complete this rewrite of the original mod. From 2020 to 2021, our focus remained on patching and improving the 1.7.10 and 1.12.2 releases until we were happy with the state that they were in. Then in 2021, around December sort of time, we expanded our development team significantly and fully prioritised this new rewrite, updating it to new Minecraft versions as they released until we reached the point we're at now, where we basically have a finished mod on 1.19.4, the latest available Forge version at the time of recording, which is available for testing via our Discord server, alongside a public multiplayer server that allows us to test changes to the codebase as they happen through our auto-build service. So now we've covered the history of this rewrite, I think we should now take a look at the features and changes we've been making with the project, as this rewrite isn't just a straight port, but rather something closer to a full remaster of the original mod. So let's dive straight into the changes and improvements we've made. The first change you're likely to notice while playing this rewrite is the texture overhaul. We've spent a long time redoing pretty much every texture, either from scratch or based on its new vanilla equivalent, so everything matches the updated look and feel of the vanilla game following its art overhaul in 1.14. We also offer the original textures from both Beta 1.7 and 1.2.5 releases, which you can access via a set of pre-packaged resource packs, so players who want to retain the original look of the mod, or prefer playing the game with programmer art and want the mod to match, are able to have that as an option. Not only that, but we've also been working very hard to get the terrain generation as close to the original mod as possible. As you can see from the footage here, the Aether terrain has a lot of unique overhangs, clusters of broken terrain, and sweeping open spaces. We paid particularly close attention to ensuring exploring the Aether's terrain was difficult on foot, but exciting via the numerous traversal upgrades available in the mod's content. You'll also find that blue air clouds make Elytra flight in the Aether dimension very free and exciting. Speaking of generation, our dungeon structures have also had a big focus of this rewrite. In previous Aether Legacy releases, it was often very hard to find bronze dungeons, as they struggled to find appropriate areas to generate inside islands. For this rewrite, we've tried to ensure islands have a wider variety of thickness and mass, which should allow dungeons to more regularly generate inside, as well as making sure dungeon entrances are exposed and visible more often. Overall, bronze dungeons should be much easier to find on foot during early gameplay. Our floating dungeons have also had some changes. The main thing we have improved is the variety of conditions a floating dungeon like the Silver Dungeon can generate in. Before, they were only found high in the air, completely separated from land, but now you can freely find silver and gold dungeons embedded in the terrain as well, which makes for some really cool and interesting interactions with our terrain generation. We even made sure that the entrance doorways are always exposed to air, so you don't need to go dig through dirt to enter them. Once you enter the dungeons, you'll also likely notice that we've extensively rebalanced how chest loot works. Looting dungeons should now feel more varied and rewarding, while still mostly resembling the original mod's progression. The basic idea around these changes is to make individual dungeon runs more rewarding, while also making chest loot more varied and exciting. Loot isn't the only thing that's been tweaked in dungeons though. We've also rebalanced and overhauled the Aether mod's bosses in an attempt to bring them up to more modern standards, while rebalancing them around the recent changes to Minecraft's core combat. This should speed up some of the fights compared to 1.12.2, while also being more exciting and challenging. the Sun Spirit specifically has had a large amount of balance changes to try and address criticisms we've collected about it over the years. We're excited to hear what everyone thinks of these changes in the future once you get your hands on the mod. Another feature we've overhauled recently is advancements. Back in the original Aether mod, we had custom achievements that marked very limited progression points in the mod's content that sort of matched the vibe of the achievements of the vanilla game at the time. But once Minecraft further developed their system into the current advancements we have today, the Aether mod fell behind somewhat as our achievements were never really updated to fit the new system. In modern Minecraft versions, advancements work as a sort of natural tutorial as well as an achievement system, giving you guidance and goals throughout the game's progression and pushing you towards major steps in the game's content. For Aether 1, the achievements we had were basically just a bare-bones content checklist, with not much fluidity or progression between them. But for this new rewrite, we've entirely redone the Aether Dimensions advancements to now better reflect the progression and goals of the mod's content, which should help a lot for new players who want to discover the mod's content naturally within the game itself. We even have some hidden advancements for players who want to experiment with more advanced mechanics in the mod. Alright, the last major feature I'd like to talk about today is our cosmetic rewards. For people who have contributed significantly to the project, either through major development contributions or financially backing the project's development, we'll be offering a range of visual customizations in both Aether 1 and later on in Aether 2. The system isn't completed yet, but by release we'll have a range of mower skins available for supporters of the project, which you'll be able to freely switch between for your current mower. At launch, we expect to have 2 skin packs available, one for all supporters who have contributed $5 or more to the project, and a second pack for supporters who have contributed more than $10, which will be yours to keep forever, even if you stop actively supporting the project. We're hoping to have a lot of the process of obtaining skins to be as automated as possible, but if you're not an active supporter in the Angel or Valkyrie tiers on our Patreon, there may be some manual review needed for everyone to get their cosmetic rewards. On top of these 2 packs, we'll likely be releasing periodic skin packs that will be exclusive to active supporters on our Patreon. These mower skins will be fully multiplayer compatible, so not only will you have cool skins for your mower, but you'll also be able to show them off to your friends on multiplayer servers. We rely quite heavily on financial contributions to keep the project running, so while we don't ever want to encourage anyone who doesn't have the spare money to give it to us, we hope these cosmetic rewards will feel like a suitable thank you to people who have decided to financially support us. Now, as you've probably noticed from the footage we've been showing in this video, the mod is basically done. It's feature complete, you can run through the whole content set at this point, so we're actually really close to a public beta release. We still have a few bugs and design quirks to iron out before we're happy releasing this widely, but when we do, we'll be pushing the Aether Rewrite beta to both CurseForge and Modrinth simultaneously, as we're aiming to support as many platforms as possible in our community going forward. We'd really like this beta to be as close to perfect as possible before we release it publicly, so while this will be a beta, and its release will be primarily for the purpose of finding and squashing further issues, we do expect the release to be as functional and stable as we can possibly get it. So we hope you all try it out, and hopefully enjoy it as much as possible, but if you do end up finding problems, we highly encourage players to report bugs and problems to our GitHub's issue tracker in the future, which should help speed up the process of getting this rewrite completed and fully released. So with all the Aether Rewrite's major changes, features and priorities outlined, I'd like to now talk about the rest of our work outside of Aether 1, starting with the state of Aether 2 following our last few videos. So basically, Aether 2 has been mostly on pause while we worked on fixing up the previous Aether 1 releases and created this rewrite. We had done some minor work on the 1.12.2 Highlands codebase to address some major concerns, but there were far too many large-scale issues that our current team aren't particularly well equipped to address, given how messy the 1.12 codebase is. This mostly means that 1.12 is a bit of an irrecoverable mess, and the changes we made weren't enough to really warrant a public release. Instead, we chose to shelve work on Aether 2 until after the Aether Rewrite was complete, then resume development of Aether 2 primarily using the experience and technology we had developed and used in the process of recreating the original mod. We're finally reapproaching that point where we're likely to be resuming development of Aether 2, which we're very excited for, but there's still going to be quite a bit of time between now and when we'll have something new and playable for you all with Aether 2. So we appreciate the patience and kind words you've all given us in relation to this project, and we hope this Aether Rewrite fills the gap nicely and sets the tone for our future work better than our previous 1.12 releases had. Speaking of 1.12 though, we do effectively have an unreleased update for Aether 2 Highlands alphas sitting on the shelf at the moment. The main things we had changed were island size and spacing, which helps tremendously with getting the terrain feeling more like a Skylands world. Edison's design was reworked into the new character Eddie. We added unique baby mob models. We added irradiated blocks and items to replace the continuum ore from 1.7, which gives you randomized loot when processing the ice stone cooler. as well as some additions and changes to the guidebook UI with more information available about our mechanics and systems. The main reason these changes went unreleased is because of some pretty critical bugs with our accessories not syncing up properly, leading to some weird behaviour around equipping items. These issues were critical enough that we felt it wouldn't be appropriate to release them publicly, but we were also unable to fix them on the old codebase. So the main thing I wanted to ask you guys today is, would you like to see these changes released on 1.12 before we move on to resuming development on 1.19 plus? We wouldn't be fixing any of the bugs, and the release would be effectively unsupported. But our design team does feel the changes and additions are worthwhile for players who want to get maybe a better indication of what Aether 2 content that has been implemented is sort of meant to feel like, as we're really unhappy with the state the last build left the project in. So yeah, would you like to see this build available through some sort of public archive build, or would you prefer we just focus on making the new versions of Aether 2 better and leave 1.12 behind? Another thing we've been working on in relation to the Aether project is community contributed translations. We really want the Aether to be available to as many people as possible, and an important part of that is having support for multiple languages. To achieve this, we'll be opening a community-driven translation service at some point during beta, allowing users who have knowledge of multiple languages to translate the mod, and for other users to be able to verify and improve the accuracy of translations for us to use within the mod. We'll have more updates on our translation services later during beta. We're also working on a new Aether wiki. We've switched to using wiki.gg and have been building a brand new, much more accurate wiki page for the Aether mods. Our focus with the new wiki will primarily be on having accurate and updated information about the Aether rewrite, but as we begin resuming development of Aether 2, we will likely shift focus to adding updated information about that as well. For now, it's early days, and we're still working on formatting and porting over legacy information. We hope to have the wiki in a good state for the full launch of the Aether rewrite following a beta phase, so we hope that'll become a useful resource for new and returning players in the future. The last thing we've been working on that I'd like to cover is the new Book of Lore forum on our Discord server. Since Discord's forum feature launch, we've started adding functionality using it to our server, including support forums, community project showcases via our projects forum, and now a Book of Lore forum to cover deep dives into specific world-building concepts, short stories, and character showcases. Those that have been around for a while likely remember we had a Book of Lore section on our old forum website, where I would post artwork and short stories related to upcoming content in Aether 2. This new Discord forum is basically that again, but updated to include not only the new content plan for the mod, but also hints and teasers for our upcoming Aether comic book that we have in pre-production. So if you want to learn a bit about the mod's world building, and get some teasers and information about the comic we'll be working on alongside Aether 2, check out our Discord server and take a look through the Book of Lore forum. Now some of you watching may be thinking about how you can help contribute to the Aether project, or maybe you want to do more in the community to try and improve and help the project's goals. There are 3 major ways you can help the project out. First is incredibly easy. Just keep playing the mod. Share it around, talk about it on social media, make fan art, make videos about it. Just spreading the word and enjoying the mods we put out helps more than anything else. But if you want to make more targeted contribution, we're always happy to accept financial contributions through our Patreon. As detailed earlier, we'll be offering cosmetic rewards both to anyone who has made financial contributions and active patrons. Small but regular pledges really help keep the lights on and make the financial pressure of making this free project a lot less severe. So if you have the money to spare, it would mean the world to us if you checked out our Patreon page. We also accept community code contributions through pull requests via our GitHub, so if you have Java modding experience and want to help out, make sure to check out our issue tracker for open and unassigned issues. Once we resume development of Aether 2, we'll have a much larger pool of open issues and tasks available, as well as a better idea of what aspects of development we're in need of, so we'll likely begin looking for new team members during the early stages of Aether 2's development. And the best way to get on our radar is to contribute to our GitHub. And that about covers everything. Thank you all for sticking around and sending us a lot of positive messages and feedback over this past year. I hope you all check out the Aether Rewrite beta when that releases. We'll likely post a video quickly advertising its release here, as well as publishing release posters on our social media channels. Make sure to join our Discord server to stay up to date on everything, subscribe for more Aether videos, and stay tuned for the next AML, which will likely cover development of Aether 2 after we finish this Aether Rewrite. Cheers everyone, see you later.